All right, we are live. Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday, Sue's Day. Check out who's joining us over there in the corner. She's really thrilled about this.
I'm busy hydrating because I have a headache.
She is super, super excited about this whole setup.
I'm super dehydrated.
And also dehydrated. Speaking of dehydrated, I'm also a little dehydrated, a little parched. So I was thinking this morning, actually, as I was wondering, I'm about to go live on YouTube, what am I gonna talk about? And it hit me actually kind of square in the face. It's kind of interesting. Yesterday we talked about not like how I spent a bunch of money on just random coffee gear that I didn't actually want, but I kind of needed to go through that experience to understand what I actually do want. And the side benefit, when we talked about how really all I need is just the electric pot and the pour over thing. But I realized this morning that the other side benefit of going that route and not spending a bunch of money on coffee gear is, let me ask you this question. Would you rather, assuming you drink coffee, would you rather spend a bunch of money on coffee making implements or on coffee? Now, I made the mistake of spending money on both. So that I don't really count as having done it right, but it made me think this morning as I realized, as we get rid of all that other coffee gear and we just do the pour over stuff, it frees up budget in theory to go after like really good coffee. In fact, the last ones you guys yesterday when I made this, you may have actually thought that this is Nestle Taster's Choice or Nescafe. Nestle. That just speaks to how I haven't been having coffee very long. This is actually not Nescafe. I just kept the container because it holds the coffee nicely. It's actually from, do you even remember what that place was called in Big Bear?
No.
Where we bought there's a little coffee roaster place in Big Bear. Yeah, a little coffee beef jerky place. It's right next to the Stater Bros, right?
Vons.
Is it a Vons? Anyway, there's a Vons and I think there's a Stater Bros there as well. Anyway, great coffee. But also, Sue signed me up for this, like, coffee of the, it seems like it's coffee of the every week.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. The brand is Get, G-Get. I love this. In fact, I don't even think it's...
Go get 'em.
Go get them. And one of the things I love about this coffee, this is just a side note, I wasn't even planning on doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Do we have the card? Oh, it might actually be over there. Anyway, when they sent me the first one, which I think was the Mexico one, I don't actually remember. When they sent me the first one, they wrote a little card on the box that it came in, and they actually, no one's ever done this before, and it was amazing. I'll show it tomorrow. I'll go find it and think about it beforehand. But they actually wrote my name. They wrote it with 2 T's. They crossed it out, and then they wrote it with 1 T. And I was like, I could spend money with you forever now, because that was pretty amazing. So here we go. That's why. So anyway, that's pretty cool. But I mean, the crazy thing is that when we look at the different, like the coffee from all over the place, and really just expanding your like what coffee and what coffee you're actually drinking and what you're actually doing. It's interesting. It just hit me this morning, like I said, getting rid of all that extra stuff, being able to make coffee different ways. It doesn't really matter if you don't have good coffee to make in it. And this way, when we spend a little bit more time just on time and money. And in fact, the other thing too, we found this when we were in Ramona and got this Joshua Tree coffee that was really good. But I just like the idea of being able to have actual good coffee, because then we can pair it with different things. So that's the other thing too, is the coffee from Big Bear. Sue likes to have these creamers. No judgment. Creamer's fine.
Preferably with sugar.
Preferably with sugar. These are sugar-free because we're on a deal right now, which we don't really enjoy so much. But by the way, today we're having the, I think it's the Mexico one. Yeah. Santa Maria It's not all there, so I don't know. Yukuhiti? Anyway, this one actually smells really good. I think this is gonna be good. But anyway, the different coffees pair with the creamers differently. Like the one from Big Bear, Sue didn't really, it was like a chocolate raspberry, and it didn't really pair very well with the creamer. And so, you know, you can try different things, and you expand your horizon, so to speak, of the tastes that you can get that way. So I think, again, not to get too preachy or anything, but I think it's important, at least I've found it important, to focus on the things that actually matter and what you actually want. And sometimes, you know, sometimes you have to go through a couple of experiences to realize what you actually want. In fact, the video that I watched yesterday that was so, it was so perfect. I have a problem of wanting to do all the things and having no time to do any of the things. And this is no different, right? I want all the different ways to make coffee because I want to be able to try them all. At least that's what I think going into it. But then after I've tried them all, that's when I realized, oh no, this is what I actually want to do. And there was a video that I watched yesterday. And if you follow my business page or anything that I've been doing, you know that I am a hardcore Gary Vaynerchuk fan. And the video that I was watching yesterday while I was working, well, actually, it turns out it's a very famous video. It's one that got him a lot of followers and that people remember. I'd never seen it before, but it's him talking to a girl in Buffalo, New York, and he talks about a lot of stuff. And it's a very, very good video. I'll put a link somewhere. You're gonna have to go find it. I'll put a link to it. But there's one little section, and I'll always remember this. It's 2 minutes and 45 seconds to 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and she asks this beautiful question, which is like, I might as well have asked it myself because it's straight from my own heart. Well, how do I pick what I want to go do? How do I pick the right thing to go do? And the way he answered was so perfect. He said, it sounds like, because of the way you asked the question, it sounds like you need to try everything because you need the experience of going through all those different things to find out what you actually want. And you are always going to be crippled with the what if you don't go broad. So he said, now, I'm going to put this in context for a second. She was 23 at the time when they recorded that video. So she had time, and I have time. I'm not that old, but the context there is like, take advantage of the fact that because he told her later in the video, he was like, look, you can do whatever you want. You could go travel for 2 years and still crush it. He has a $200 million agency, VaynerMedia, that he built over the last 20 years. Last 10 years, actually. His main thing that he built all of his big brands off the back of, it's a thing called Wine Library TV. He used to run for those of you who don't know, first of all, go look him up. But he used to run his dad's liquor store, wine store in New Jersey. He started a show on YouTube called Wine Library TV. That got huge. And then he built off the back of that his personal brand, speaking engagements, motivation, and then now he has an agency. There's all sorts of stuff that he's doing. But he didn't get started. He didn't start that show on YouTube until he was 30. So his big point is, there's a lot of people that are in their early 20s that are thinking, oh, I need to have $1 million by the time I'm 25, or else I'm behind because there's all these people that do. And he was like, no, you don't need. You have time. You got to really dig in, and you got to figure out really what's going to drive you, because the key is not the money. The key is you need to have something that you're doing that you'll work 12-hour days for 10 years straight to do. His story is, I don't know, you can tell I'm a huge fanboy. I'm seriously geeking out on him, but he in that same video, he talks to her about that past weekend, like when the video was shot. He asks her, what did you do this past weekend? And she said, oh, I helped my mom with some branding stuff and I do some other things. And he goes, you know that my entire 20s, I worked 15-hour days, 7 days a week, every day of the year for 10 years. He said, you took more free time, more personal time last weekend than I did my entire 20s. Which just, it's really, the only reason he said that is to put things sort of into perspective. And so I think it's just important to realize that You know, sometimes you got to dig in and just triple down on what you're good at and really dive in and find out what's good. But sometimes you get into a situation where you don't know. Like I would never have known. I'd never had coffee before in my life. Before, you know, sorry, this thing is freaking out on me. There we go. Never even had coffee before, you know, 3 years ago. And so I really had to, you know, I had to do my research. I had to figure out what it is that I actually wanted. And what I've come to is this stuff matters so little. This is just the hammer, right? Someone's got to know how to use the hammer. And what it is that you're building, you got to have good materials to build the rest of it. So it's like, I'd rather spend my time, my energy, my money finding good beans and know that I have a $30 water heating implement and a $5 pour over thing, and then be set and know that I've got a system in place, and then this stuff is actually going to end up working. So anyway, that's it for Tuesday. It's Sue's day. Sue, say bye to everyone.
Bye.
She didn't participate as much today. We're gonna hopefully we'll get her more participatory in the future.
Tired.
Problem is she's tired and she's also working, so we can't have her double dipping, so to speak.
We might need to bump this to 6:30.
She wants me to bump it to 6:30. That's probably not gonna happen. When she when she's still sleeping. What a dork. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. We'll talk about, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about something else tomorrow.